Oh my, oh my, oh my, how I have not missed playing a game made by my least favourite game studio, Cauldron. For the uninitiated, a while ago on this channel I played through a game called the History Channel's Battle for the Pacific, which as you can imagine was not a good game. Funnily enough, this video was originally going to be about a different shitty World War II shooter called Hour of Victory, but for the life of me I couldn't get the damn game to run properly. So I thought, well, I was going to play Assassin's Creed Brotherhood after Hour of Victory anyway, so I might as well just go play that now. But as I was sitting in the Ezio Collection's main menu, something just felt wrong about me, actually enjoying myself and playing a good game that I actually wanted to play. So I decided to go through our old pal Cauldron's masterful discography, and that's how I found Secret Service. This is Editing Yowie here, and I just wanted to say that usually in my story sections, I like to use the cutscenes of the game that match the part of the story I'm talking about, but all of the game's cutscenes look like this. They aren't really fun to look at, especially not in the YouTube video form, so I'm just going to have random gameplay put over my story section here. So yeah, if my editing looks a bit out of place compared to my other videos, that's the reason why. In Secret Service, you play as Agent Pierce, who's somehow voiced by Nolan North. I have no idea how they managed to pull him in for this. Anyway, Pierce is a member of the personal detail for the president. On the day of the president's inauguration, Pierce receives a phone call from an unknown caller who goes by the codename Semper. Semper warns that the president is in danger of an assassination attempt and also says that it's an inside job. Shortly after this, a bunch of armed Hispanic men attack and injure the president, but I make Daddy Trump proud and blow them all back to hell where they came from, acting like I'm about to receive an invitation to join ICE or something. These Hispanic enemies are from a made-up country in this game called Costa Centava. The game kind of portrays them as a poorer third world country, but they are somehow able to sneak in an entire invading force and launch a surprise attack on America's capital city. I guess the game thought that by there being an inside man, that would explain this plot hole away, but I mean, come on man, it's America. Unless literally the entire military was involved in this conspiracy, someone would have seen this coming. Speaking of the military, they literally never show up in this game. I mean, this is literally an invading force level of enemies that are attacking America and beelining it for the president. I understand them not appearing at the beginning of the game, but I'm sure if this situation happened in real life, they would show up pretty damn quick. Anyway, fast forward a little later in the story and we find out that this guy whose name I can't remember is the inside man because he used to be the ambassador for Costa Centava and was very empathetic towards them. This guy is also in possession of this special grenade that is so powerful it can destroy 3 city blocks, which just sounds like a weapon a 5-year-old would come up with whilst playing toy soldiers. This grenade is also a Chekhov's gun situation. For those who don't know what Chekhov's gun is, it's a writing principle that states every element within a story must be relevant and irrelevant elements must be removed. For example, if a story states that a gun is hanging on the wall, at some point in the story that gun must be fired. Outside of one specific fail state where the ambassador guy is holding the vice president hostage, this grenade thing has literally zero impact on the story. They literally could have replaced him holding this grenade with him holding a pistol to the VP's head and the story would have played out the exact same. Anyway, the game ends with you killing old mate and being the hero that saved the day and all that super predictable action story shit. This game even has the gall to insult you with a post-credits sequel bait, which thank fuck we never got because that would mean I'd be playing it for this channel. I also don't know how anyone could have looked at this game and expect it to be good enough for a sequel. So yeah, this game's story is absolute dog shit. The game portrays us finding out the invasion is an inside job as a plot twist, but we are literally told this from the very first minute we start the game. Also, Semper says that Pierce is the only one who can stop the invasion and save America, but at no point throughout the story are we told why Pierce was chosen. I mean, he doesn't really show any special or unique qualities to warrant this choice. It's also shown in the story that there's a whole sect of Secret Service agents that are corrupt and working with the ambassador dude. So how exactly did Semper know we weren't corrupt and could be trusted? For a story to be good, I understand there needs to be some suspension of disbelief, but this game seems to want me to completely ignore reality despite seemingly wanting to portray itself in a realistic world. Now, for the gameplay section of this video, I'm going to be saying a lot of negative things, so I want to start off with the only positive I have for this game. Unlike the last Cauldron game I played, this game has proper aim down sights that actually make your gun more accurate. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to Cauldron games, the bar is set that low. Anyway, to start off with, the first thing I noticed when opening the game is that it had no FOV slider, and I am one of those people that get major headaches when my FOV is not set properly, meaning my experience with this game was not only mental torture, but physical torture as well. I then also noticed that this game has some slight mouse acceleration that can't be turned off. Whilst this isn't the worst I've experienced, mouse acceleration in any shooter is just very annoying and makes aiming and shooting feel super tedious. After this, I found out, like the previous Cauldron game I played, this game has FPS based physics. Unlike the Battle for the Pacific, I could kill enemies, but it took a lot of bullets, and it would also send enemies flying and stretching out everywhere. What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck, the body's going flying. Unlike the previous two issues, I could actually fix this by limiting my frame rate for this game in my AMD control panel. Anyway, now that all of the technical issues are out of the way, what's the game itself like? Well, it's shit. It tries to be a mixture of Call of Duty with some Half-Life-like levels thrown in, but massively fails at doing both. In fact, some levels in this game feel like they just copied and pasted levels from Half-Life 1 and the original Modern Warfare, but made them worse. For example, there's a level where you're fighting in a plane. I was in a Discord call streaming the game to one of my friends during this level, and we both noticed that the layout of this level feels almost identical to Mile High Club from the original COD Modern Warfare. There's also a level where you have to dodge a bunch of trip mines, similar to the one in Half-Life 1, but they made it worse by forcing you to use night vision to be able to see the lasers, and these night vision goggles are on a timer. And oh boy, I hope you love the fucking color green, because after you get these night vision goggles, these trip mines are everywhere, and they insta-kill you most of the time. And if you think you're safe because you're in an area that is way too bright to use night vision because it would literally blind you, think again, because remember, this is a Cauldron game, and I'm convinced whenever these guys make a game, they all develop some sort of brain tumor in the critical thinking skills part of the brain. This combined with the game's atrocious checkpoints that sometimes force you to redo 2/3 of a level or respawn you before massive dialogue dumps, forcing you to hear the same lines over and over again, lead to a really unenjoyable experience. Speaking of the game's dialogue dumps, it will sometimes literally freeze you in place and force you to listen to this game's shitty ass story. When this first happened, it felt so unnatural that I genuinely thought my game was bugged. Looking back on it now, I wish it was bugged so I didn't have to keep playing this fucking game. Whilst you're on the subject of the shitty checkpoints, I think it's fitting to mention a couple of the other bullshit ways you can die or fail a mission in this game. Starting off with the most common one being you having inconsistent health. Sometimes it feels like you're a fucking tank and can survive anything, whereas other times you'll die in a single bullet. There are also these missions where you have to fight corrupt Secret Service agents, but you aren't allowed to kill them. Instead, you're forced to use this really shitty taser gun. And if you decide, fuck this gun sucks, I'm just gonna kill them, it's a mission fail. Oh, and you can also die to random fences sometimes for no apparent reason, it seems. Ouch.
I wonder how she's going to make without a Jordans. He wears some fucking things everywhere.
Well, yeah, they're quite expensive. What is hurting me here? Is this fence hurting me? On top of this, when you die, there are some really bad Call of Duty style death quotes, with classics such as, "You could have survived anything, except death." Oh, I even forgot about the Cauldron classic. You failing a mission because you are like 1 meter too far away from a friendly AI you're meant to be following. This happened in Battle for the Pacific, and it can happen here. There's also a single hacking mini game that the game just loves to throw at you constantly, where you have to connect these circuits together within a certain time limit without accidentally connecting the bad circuits, or you'll fail. This is the only mini game throughout the entire game, with the only changes that get made to it that the circuit board gets bigger. For some reason, this circuit board is randomly generated every time you open it. Even if you fail and have to restart, it will be a new random generation. And I'm pretty sure they didn't code this right, as it felt like a lot of the times it was genuinely impossible to connect certain circuits together. Every time you fail this minigame too, there is a long ass cooldown before you can retry it. And in some levels, failing can cause enemies to spawn, or in one level just straight up kill you because you're trying to defuse bombs. This combined with the aforementioned bad checkpoint system can lead to some very frustrating and tedious gameplay. Anyway, I'm over talking about this game, so to sum everything up, this game just fucking sucks to the point where I was starting to think it was intentionally made as rage bait. As far as I can tell, you can't legally purchase it anymore, and whilst I am an advocate for game preservation no matter how bad a game is, perhaps in this case, it's a good thing. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.